Welcome to Cori's Stories. Are you ready to meditate with Cori? Hi friends, make sure that you subscribe and you like this video, and also press the bell because the bell will let you know when a new video comes out. If you love Heidi, Cherry and VAYA, make sure that you go to the link below and you join the Patreon group. Then you'll be part of the Cat Club and you'll get 3 exclusive stories every month for just $7 a month. I hope you enjoy the meditation. I love you. Bye. Are you ready to meditate with Cori? Are you ready to be so still that your body doesn't twitch, you don't move around? You're so still and quiet in your bed. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to take a nice, big, deep breath and allow your body to fully relax? As you listen to the story and hopefully, eventually, fall fast asleep. Coriannda discovered something about herself a long time ago. She fell on the discovery by accident. One night, a long time ago, she was so tired, laid in bed. For some reason, all that week she'd had a really hard time falling to sleep, staying asleep. She kept waking up and being awake for hours. It was a Thursday. And since Monday, it had been the same every single night. Now by Thursday night, she'd woken up again in the middle of the night and she was exhausted. She couldn't understand why she couldn't sleep. So tired. Her whole body was tired. You know, sometimes when you get that tired that your body twitches, like its own nervous system is just doing its own thing. That's what was happening with Coriannda. Her body was twitching and she ached. She was so tired. She just wanted to sleep. Why can't I sleep? And the more frustrated she got with the fact that she couldn't sleep, the more she couldn't sleep. She quickly figured out that frustration and being angry and upset is not going to help the situation. In fact, it's probably one of the things that's keeping her awake. She decided to breathe deeply so that she wasn't anxious anymore, she wasn't angry anymore. The more she breathed deeply to calm down, the more her body responded. The twitches were still there. The little jerks in her legs as if to say, "I'm so tired," were still there. But at least she wasn't feeling angry or upset inside. Now she was just calm again, but still wide awake. She remembered a book that she'd read, a book about astral travel. Astral travel is something that you can do where you basically have an out-of-body experience. She was fascinated by it. She actually discovered that when you dream at night, you're actually astral traveling. Everyone can astral travel. everyone can dream. So when you go off in your dream and you have all of these different adventures and journeys in different foreign places, and sometimes they're crazy and sometimes they're nightmares, that's actually astral traveling. When Coriannda read the book, she discovered that you astral travel because you have an energy aspect of yourself that leaves the body and goes and has adventures, like your dream self. Your dream body is the body that's off on the adventures, while your physical body is the body that's asleep in bed. What she discovered when she read the Astral Travel book was that you can actually astral travel on command. You don't have to be asleep dreaming. She was thinking about this because she was laid in bed, wide awake, wondering what to do with herself. And once she'd calmed down by taking some nice, long, deep breaths, she finally settled on the idea that if she couldn't sleep, she could astral travel. The best time to have an out-of-body experience, an OBE for short, out-of-body experience. The best time to astral travel is when you're super tired, just like Coriannda was. It's that time where your brain is half awake and half asleep, just like Coriannda was. It's that time where your body is super tired, but your mind is awake, just like Coriannda was. So therefore, it was all perfect. She laid down on her back. She moved her arms away from her body. She let her feet relax out with her legs open just a little bit. She had a pillow underneath her head. Coriannda closed her eyes. In her mind, she started to see what it would look like if her body was moving away from her body. As if one part of her body that looked just like the other part of her body was stepping out of its clothes and moving away from the part of the body that was on the bed. Her body wasn't actually doing this. There weren't two Coriandas in the room. She was pretending that she was seeing it. She was imagining that she was seeing it. Over and over and over. That's what the book told her to do. Imagine with your eyes closed that you can see part of yourself lifting up and away, rolling over and rolling out of the bed. She kept feeling the sensation as if she was rolling over and rolling up out of her bed. She wasn't. She was actually laid very still and quiet and very, very tired in her bed. But to practice astral traveling, to having an out-of-body experience, the book said this is what you do. So this is what Coriannda did. She played. She just laid there in her bed and kept imagining with her eyes closed that she was stepping out of herself, rolling off the bed and standing up next to herself. After seeing this in her mind over and over and over again, she started to feel as if her body was coming out of her body, as if she was actually rolling over. The sensations felt like she was experiencing it. She wasn't. She was in her bed, with her eyes closed, not moving at all. But yet there was a part of her that felt as if she was rolling over. So now not only was she seeing herself pulling away and rolling over, she was feeling it too. This got her a little bit excited, and then when she was excited, it went away. She quickly discovered that she wasn't allowed to be excited. She wasn't allowed to think about the astral traveling. She was just allowed to play and do it. Just do it. Just do it, she kept saying to herself. Don't get excited. Don't think about it too much. Don't even act as if it's even happening, even if it does. Because all of that, she quickly discovered, snapped her straight back into her body, and she didn't go anywhere. It was as if her imagination only worked if she didn't ask questions or think about it too critically. She couldn't, because then that would make her wake up. She had to drowse into it, flow into it. She had to let go and just go with the motions. She was feeling so floaty, so sleepy, but her mind was still awake. She knew that that was perfect. Her body kept twitching and jerking, just nervous responses in her body. Like sometimes when you're falling asleep and you feel like you're falling and falling and falling, and then you stop and wake up. She kept getting that feeling in her body. She would float, and then she would fall, and then she would float, and then she would fall. Coriannda lost all sense of time. She didn't know how long she'd been practicing seeing and feeling herself stepping out of her body, rolling off the bed, and standing next to herself. She did it over and over and over. She lost count. The next thing that happened was very interesting. Coriannda was stood next to her bed, looking down at herself in the bed, and she really didn't think very much of this. Her mind was on the verge of sleep. It was like she kind of lost all sense of normal thinking. She was so exhausted and tired that she just assumed now she was stood next to herself, looking down at herself in her bed. And then Coriannda started to float. She floated up through her bedroom ceiling. She realized, without thinking too much about it, that she was flying. But very casually, she thought to herself, oh, that's nice. She didn't get excited. She didn't freak out. She just went with the flow, floating higher and higher. The next minute, she looked down and she was flying over her house. Wow, it's cool from up here, she thought. The next minute, she was flying super fast. She was flying as if she was flying through a tunnel of light. All she could see around her was light, zooming past, as if she'd been catapulted through space. Can you imagine flying through space? All the stars would just go blurry, like streaks of light, all around you as you flew by them really, really fast. That's what it looked like in the tunnel of light that she was in. She was going faster than she could comprehend. Faster than whatever. A spaceship, a car. She kind of didn't mind how fast she was going. She just enjoyed the feeling of floating, relaxing, going with the flow of it. It was kind of dreamy. You know, when you're having a nice dream and you're super comfortable and you have to get up for school in the morning and you're like, oh no, my bed feels so nice. I'm so warm and comfortable and I don't want to get up. She had that kind of feeling as she was flying through space and time. And then Coriannda found herself staring down at a very strange piece of land. Everything stopped. She felt like she was hovering in space. Nothing moved. And now her vision was tunnel vision. So everything on the side and the left and everything on the side on the right, above her, below her, was kind of fuzzy and blurry. But if she looked straight down at the land below, it was all crystal clear. Brilliantly clear. She was looking down at the pyramids. She'd always been fascinated with the pyramids. Coriannda believed the pyramids were made by aliens. She wasn't joking. She was very, very serious about it. And whenever she told anybody, they always laughed. But she really, truly believed that the pyramids were made by aliens. Beings from outer space. She got a little bit excited about seeing the pyramids, but not too much. She remembered she couldn't get too excited. And then in the next moment, just like that, she was inside the pyramids. She didn't climb down them, think about them. She didn't hurdle her way through them. She was just inside them. Like a thought that changes in your mind. From one thought to another, and the other thought that you were thinking before just completely disappears. Puffs into nothingness. That's what happened. 1 second she was looking down. She recognized that she was hovering over the pyramids, seeing them crystal clear down below. And then the next second she was inside them. She noticed it was dark, dimly lit. The light was not clear or bright. She was counting her way down the steps. She would get to the bottom, 7 steps, and find herself on a flat rock with 7 more steps in front of her. And she counted her way down the 7 steps again, slowly taking her time because the light wasn't very bright at all. And again she found herself on a platform with 7 more steps in front of her. She went down 7 steps, 7 times, and then found herself at the bottom of the pyramids. She wasn't sure if she started at the top of the pyramids or the middle of the pyramids or even the bottom of the pyramids. And then she realized she wasn't underneath the pyramid. She had a thought that came into her mind from nowhere. She didn't know where the thought came. She couldn't possibly be thinking the thought herself because she'd never been to the pyramids. She'd never been under the pyramids. Who had? But she knew that she was actually under the paw of the Sphinx. She just knew it. That's where she was. Going down 7 steps, 7 times. She felt like she was in some kind of sacred tomb when she got to the bottom. As she looked around, everything was stone. There were markings on the walls. She walked over to look at them. They weren't the typical markings. They weren't stick figures of people doing things. There were lines carved into the walls, symbols. She felt like she was looking at sacred geometry, all different shapes. She knew it was a language. She didn't know what it said. And she didn't know what the language was. But she knew she was looking at some kind of message. She felt things in her body. She ran her fingers over one of the symbols, the lines that swirled and crossed over each other, and she felt it in her heart. And then she moved along to a different symbol and ran her fingers over that, and she could feel that in the back of her head. Interesting. It was like a language that spoke to her body. She didn't have to understand the words, she just had to understand the frequency of the message. Whatever that symbol was, it did something to the inside of her body. Her astral body could feel it. Then she started thinking, I wonder if I can feel this in my physical body. If my astral body can feel it, I wonder if I can feel it in my physical body. And then, just like a vacuum cleaner, something sucked on her so fast and so hard, like an elastic band that had been stretched and stretched and stretched, and then someone let go. She flew through the light tunnel, flew back straight into her bed, back into her body with a shake and the loudest clash and bang in her mind. It sounded as if someone had just bashed on a big loud tambourine or drum right in the middle of her head. It shook her. She literally shook. Her whole body shook. And then she opened her eyes. She was back in her room, back in her bed, back as if it was just 2 or 3 seconds later. She astral traveled. I did it, she thought to herself. I did it. She was so excited. So excited. She could astral travel on command. That's what Coriannda discovered a long time ago. And that's what Coriannda was going to do tonight. She was going to astral travel to who knows where. She wasn't quite sure yet. But this was just another one of her magical little things that she liked to do. A magical little thing that everyone can do if they know how. The end.